Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Mondays with Michele video. This week, we'll explore Brigham Young University's Family History Portal. We'll look at their online handwriting tutorial and try out some practice exercises. We'll also discuss their early census, immigrant ancestor, and England marriage projects. There is even a genealogy-themed games area. Let's get started. There's a number of resources on this website that are really useful, and I've touched on a few of them in the past, but I wanted to go through what's on here in a bit more detail. So we're going to focus on this area on the right here under Explore Public Resources. But let's start with this Immigrant Ancestors project. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Brigham Young University, it's the university that is primarily run by Latter-day Saints. So although you don't have to be Latter-day Saints Mormon to attend the university, I would say the bulk of their students are certainly of that faith. So one of the projects that they have going on right now is this Discover Your Ancestors. And what they have done is they are looking at various records and trying to get more information about the immigrant ancestors' homeland, about their town or place of origin, because as most of you know, what you see on the typical passenger list is not necessarily that specific. It might just say they're from England. So this is an example for that project. If we look at the records and laws page, it's giving you an idea of the kinds of records they are looking at and some of the information on what the laws that would have affected some of these immigrants. So there's some really good information here. And if we look at the search results, so I did a search. So if we just click on search, and I just searched for Renton, and there's 12 entries. So again, their database is not necessarily that large right now. They're focusing on specific sources, but there is information that I may not have had before. So in this case, they were looking at some ship's records. So this is someone who was on the McQueen. He was in the infantry. So I've got some information here and then some details of the document and that the place was Bengal. Another project that they have on the go is an index of marriages. And what they're doing here is they have looked at the marriage records of Chester Diocese, and licenses, allegations of bonds have been matched with the parish register transcripts. So that's kind of an interesting one. And again, if I search on Renton, we get a number of entries. If I look at the Sentry at the bottom for William Renton and look at the details, they have basically tried to link any information from the license, from any other documents in with the marriage. So that's kind of handy. And this is some background information about the project. It's talking about the parishes that they've included. There are 2 Yorkshire parishes, Whitewell and Saddleworth. So Again, some useful information. I go back to the main page here, and if we scroll right down, they also have an early British census project for 1801 to 1840. So if I type in Renton and see if they have anything. So at the bottom, it's telling you what they've got for parish extractions, verifications, and households. So nothing's showing up for Renton. If I pick one of the more common names, let's see if anything comes up for Dawson. But just the fact that they have this project covering the early years. So here we've got a number of Dawsons, and we've got 1811, 1831. So this could be a really useful tool just if you're trying to determine where your ancestors were prior to the 1841 census. It might be worthwhile checking to see if they show up as a head of household search with these early census records. If we go back to the main page, this script tutorial I found fascinating. I spent quite a bit of time on it. So if we click that script tutorial link, you end up at this page, and it is basically a self-paced course you can take on paleography. And you can look at English, German, Dutch, Spanish, Portuguese, Russian, Latin documents, French, and Italian. So I took a look at the English document course, and it was quite interesting. So it's designed as an interactive online tutorial. They give you some background information. If you notice on the left, there's all kinds of other links to abbreviations, numbers, links to understand the alphabet used, and examples of what the handwriting would look like. You can look at particular record types. So if I wanted to see probate documents, if I was trying to transcribe something, you can focus on that. And you can also look at samples by year. And so these are some of the other images when I just tried clicking on the different table of contents. There's by year. And what I found really interesting, I went to this interactive exercise, and the idea of this is they have you transcribe some of these entries so that you can see how well your ability to distinguish the letters, how well you are doing. And so I went for the easy level. So what you're seeing here on the screen is the easy level. So what you do is you start typing. And as long as you have typed the correct information, it appears in black. But the minute I type something that's wrong, let's say I type a T, do you notice everything turns to red? So if I erase the incorrect information until it goes to black and then continue typing, and if I do that, and I'm honestly not sure why it doesn't like the T in servant, but there's something there it doesn't like. So similarly, you can do the same thing with each of these other samples, and I'll show you. I went ahead and just tried doing some of the samples and basically played around with the letters. The minute it turned red, I knew I'd made a mistake. And I just deleted what I had typed and played around with the letters until I got the combination that matched. So I found that was a really useful tool. Now, the next section I want to show you, and I'll just go back to the main menu. So we looked at the script tutorial. There is a whole section called Discovering Your English Ancestors, and that's the one that we've looked at previously. So if you click on that, you come to this new section, Discovering English Ancestors. They've got links to other resources. They've got an introduction with different information. These links on the left are all the details for this Discovering English Ancestors section. There's the civil registration. They've got census, church records, probate, poor law, migration. This is on the marriage records. So we have details on searching for missing marriages, marriage licenses, countrywide marriage records. So the poor law section. You can see there's a section that tells you what's online. And there's the usual sources. We've got Find My Past, Ancestry. They mention the online parish clerks. They mention Januki, National Archives. And then they also list specific county archives. So that's an interesting page. One of the other links off that main homepage was to something called the Brigham Young University Family History Technology Lab. This is their fun center, the games center. The idea is they have family-based activities. And if you take a look, we've got things like the Wheel of Family Fortune, Who's Your Daddy, Genealogy, so that's like the game Jeopardy, all kinds of games-based activities. And they're using the data from your tree or from the Family Search website. So to play the games, you need to log into your Family Search account. But again, there's some interesting activities here. And the last link I'm going to show you on this website, they do have a digital collection of information, and a lot of it is specific to the Mormon faith. So there will be things like diaries of some of the Latter-day Saints as they journeyed through the United States or came from England to the United States. There are land indentures. There are digitized issues of certain newspapers in the United States. So even if you don't have ancestors who were Latter-day Saints, because they do have some digitized newspapers, like here, newspapers from 1832 to 1836 in Ohio and Missouri, you may find that they have some resources that could help you with your research. I hope you enjoyed this week's video. Don't forget to download the handout. You'll find the link in the video description at the bottom of your screen. You may need to click Show More to see the handout links. Thanks for watching.